it's so good.
This is a remarkable update.
This is an amazing car.
It's definitely quieter. Yeah, this is more relaxing.
It's essentially the same car, but better. So what is very obvious is the kind of basic drive feel of the car is very similar. The acceleration, the one pedal driving, the regen, all those things I'm sure they've been tweaked and tuned, and it certainly feels really, really good, and it clearly goes like a rocket if you want it to.
Wait a minute. I know this is a loud horn on the outside, but I'm not hearing it so much on the inside, so this soundproofing, already I can tell that it's improved over the old car.
Whoa! Now I get an impression. Here we have not so smooth asphalt. Yeah, so my impression is that, okay, it sounds better than before.
But if you can hear a bit of road noise now, we're actually driving over a road that's being resurfaced, so it's very rough. So even with that sound, even with a very rough road that we're driving over, it's still pretty quiet.
If I just show you here, you've now got acoustic glass here in the back, and also the rear window, this huge rear window, that is acoustic glass as well, which is helping with the noise reduction.
The overall sound in the vehicle is reduced, but I'm going to say now it's subtle. This is definitely not louder than my Model 3, but it's not massively quieter.
It's definitely quieter.
It's definitely quieter. Yeah, this is more relaxing. I can say that already. So we're going to do the sound test now. Start at the same stretch of road, 70 kilometers an hour. So definitely less tyre noise. I can just tell it with my ears, and looking at the sound meter, it's just ever so slightly lower by 1 or 2 decibels on average. Not a massive difference in terms of numbers, but obviously decibels are logarithmic, so 1 or 2 decibels is quite a big deal actually. So the car is definitely quieter. My phone is not lying. So sensitive button and the windscreen, even that's quiet. As I'm building up speed, you're getting a bit of tyre noise, but considering the surface, this should be going, it's actually reasonably quiet in here. So to improve the sound deadening, as well as like changing the bushings and the suspension, adding extra soundproofing, they've also worked on the tyres to make them less noisy and also more comfortable. And they've done that while trying to maintain efficiency. Now, while Tesla has changed the look of this car, they've improved the aerodynamics. Apparently it's now the most aerodynamic Tesla on sale. This is the CD figure, the drag coefficient of this car, and this is what it used to be. Now that improves the efficiency, but also helps reduce wind noise. Now, one of the things they've done to this car is alter the shape of the bonnet and flick it up at the very last part of the bonnet to send the wind in a smoother way over the windscreen, and it seems to have done the job. Just a little bit coming in now from around here. I mean, subjectively, this car does just seem quieter. It feels a little bit more comfortable. They have moved it on.
Now, the indicating, I'm going to say, indicating is it's going to be there's a little learning curve to do that, because I'm still looking at the steering wheel to make sure I'm pressing the right button. That isn't automatic. Where's the lever? I know they want to strip it down and it's all going to be lean. I'm slightly questioning the buttons. I'm sure I'll get used to it, but it's slightly worrying.
Here we go. Obviously there is no stalk to put into drive. I now swipe that forward, and then to indicate there's no stalk, we've got the new Tesla Model 3 steering wheel here, so I have to press this button. Don't like indicators on the steering wheel. It has haptic feedback, and actually, do you know what? It feels like a real button. In a Model S and a Model X, when you press the button, the steering wheel vibrates to let you know that you've pressed it. Here, the actual button vibrates, and while this panel isn't really moving, the way they've done the haptic feedback is so good, it feels like a normal button.
How do I use the screen wipers? I press the button. Oh, okay. And they come on. Okay.
Bit of road is in the middle of actually being resurfaced, so it's rougher. This is kind of what they're like in the UK, and that is really good. I'm getting minor vibrations, just like tickling my bottom a bit, which is strangely pleasant. Anyhow, it's things like this that is really making me feel that it is quite a difference.
So you see we come over a speed bump now. Whoa! Whoa! I was expecting the front to go more up, but it somehow did the compression.
I feel like the bumps are less noticeable here in the rear than they were before. It was really pronounced actually in the back seat compared to the front seat in the old Model 3. You did feel like you were in the cheap seats here in the rear, but now it's not such an issue.
But just the way it rides over the bumps here, I can feel the difference. I have driven so many Model 3s in the past, the old one, the new one, I could instantly feel there was a difference in the suspension.
Now we're going to redo the vibration test in the new Model 3. So we're on the same section of road. I'm going to start my vibrometer running and we'll see how well this car performs. Once again, Lewis is going to drive at 30 kilometers an hour and hunt out the drain covers. Go for it, Lewis. Whoops. Okay, so already I can see that it's, oops, slightly lower. There's not a huge difference in the numbers, but the graph isn't quite so shaky, especially when we go over the drain covers. Now what I'm going to do is just show you on screen the two vibrometer readings, and you can actually see that with the second reading, which is in the new car, this car, you can see that the lines are more consistently underneath the 5 mark. It's a small difference on my vibrometer, which isn't the most scientific thing, but you can see that the vibrations are slightly lower, as are the major impacts. Seems like they have definitely improved the suspension, according to my very scientific test.
On these beautiful roads, you can definitely enjoy the direct steering of the Tesla Model 3 and the 460 horsepower you get with the long range version. I mean, this is a quick car, 4.4 seconds to 100. That's really fast.
Top speed is different though. So the previous generation Model 3 long range would do 145 miles an hour, whereas this one only does 125 miles an hour. The reason that they've decided to reduce the top speed is because in most parts of the world, apart from Germany, you can't go over like 70 or 80 miles an hour. So what they've done is gone for a slightly different tyre, which improves comfort and efficiency, and it's not designed to go quite so fast. So that's a sacrifice they've decided to make. And I think for most people, most of the time, that is the right choice.
0 to 100 in 4.6 seconds.
No increase in battery capacity, no changes in battery chemistry. And there are two types of Model 3 you can get, which is the rear wheel drive and the long range. And this is a long range one, so that's all wheel drive. And this is around, in realistic terms, it is between 280 and 300 miles, depending on how you drive, the weather conditions, the time of year, blah, 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 all the usual caveats.
However, due to the improvements in efficiency, you should get more range. So the old dual motor car was supposed to be capable of doing up to 374 miles on a single charge, whereas this new one on the 18-inch alloy wheels is supposedly capable of doing 423 miles on a single charge.
So all in all, I mean, I'm really impressed with this. I think it is worth doing. I don't think it's groundbreaking, earth-shattering news. It's not the most stunning. It's not a new car. It's an existing car that's been refreshed, and it's been refreshed in quite a deep way underneath it, which is not immediately apparent to look at. The front end is obviously a bit different, but it took me a while to register what was different. The driving experience is as good as anything Tesla have ever done, if not slightly better. It definitely feels like a new car. I mean, the very simple answer is I love my Model 3 that I drive now, but I want this one.
This is a remarkable update. It is actually, I think, too big of an update to call it an update. For me, this really is a new Model 3. More than half the parts used are new, and it just feels like an entirely new Tesla to me.
In the meantime, this is an amazing car. If you ever have the chance to drive one, you won't be disappointed. It really is extraordinary.
So then, what's my final verdict on the new Tesla Model 3? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, when you consider that the old Model 3 was still at the top of its game, this one is even better. So the verdict is easy. You should go right ahead and buy the new Model 3.